Good evening, everyone. I'm Jordan Nicole, and I'm here with...
Colin Beery.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing good. So what's been up with you?
The semester's winding down to an end. It's getting busier and busier. I'm just trying to make it, trying to keep my head above water.
Yeah, I feel that too. I feel like the workload is just piling on, and
Yeah.
I need some self-care. So how have you been handling school and work and extracurricular activities?
Sometimes I just don't. Sometimes I just drop it all and lay in bed and play video games, which is
Sad.
not a good coping mechanic.
Yeah, procrastination. So I heard from a little birdie that you worked the women's basketball game. Is that true?
Yeah, I got to work on the broadcast for ESPN. I did the coach and bench cam.
Yeah.
Sports broadcast is something new to me. It was fun, it was exciting, and I want to do it again sometime.
Oh, awesome. That's good. So besides basketball, what's been happening on campus? There's been other news in sports,
So
right?
there's other KU sports news that's pretty big. Coach David Beatty got fired after a disappointing track record over the past few years.
Yeah.
They're currently on the hunt for a new coach. Beatty will finish off the semester, but after that, he's gone.
Wasn't his record like 2 for 32 or something absurd?
2
like
for
that?
31 in the Big 12. Super disappointing.
Oh, they were taking multiple L's. Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to mention in sports, or?
Not really. We got KU basketball starting the season this week after an awesome exhibition round. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. Well, in other news on campus, voting is huge because midterms are today. So, how are you feeling?
Get out there and vote, everyone.
Yeah. Are you voting? Are you planning on voting?
I'm voting ASAP, yeah.
Yes, yes, so am I.
Your voice matters. Get out there.
Yes, you heard it from Colin here first. So how do you feel about different things you've seen around campus? Because I feel like I've seen a lot of proactive steps to get people out there to go vote. I've seen signs, the messages on the sidewalk chalk and all that stuff.
So youth voting has always been kind of a tough subject. It's been not as high as it should be in the years past, but it's getting back up there.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of pushes to improve the accessibility of voting, such as last week on campus we were able to early vote at the Multicultural Center.
Oh, wow.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Making steps,
Yeah.
getting people to vote, get out there and vote.
Yeah, that's awesome. I read an article on the Washington Post that voter percentage in the youth has increased from 125% from 2014 to 2018. So in that time span, voters have obviously turned 18 and they're excited about voting.
Yeah, that's good progress.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Do you think that voters in Kansas, or do you think Kansas is going to turn more blue, or do you think Douglas County is still going to vote blue, or
Douglas County will stay the same, I think.
Yeah.
Kansas as a whole is definitely getting a little more blue, especially after Brownback kind of took things down to a train wreck a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Well, up next we have Thea Perry, who's running for the Kansas House District 32, so stay tuned.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jordan Nicole, and I'm here with the lovely Thea Perry. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm tired, but very excited for tomorrow.
Yes. I am first, thank you for coming on to do the interview. I'm so excited to have you here. And I just wanted to talk about your story and how you got into politics. I feel like not too many people know that you survived cancer.
That's true. I started out the beginning of this year actually planning the second Women's March in Topeka because I wanted to help elect women candidates to office, and so we invited several people, Marcy Francisco, and who's now running for treasurer, and Laura Kelly, and Sharice Davids, who hadn't announced that she was running yet, but we knew her a little bit. But I didn't put myself up there because I was waiting on test results. And so a couple of weeks after that, I was diagnosed with cancer and went through treatment. A couple of people approached me over the course of the spring and said, would you be interested in running for office? And I said, well, let me just wait and see if I have to do chemo, and then we'll talk.
Oh, wow.
And was lucky enough because I had insurance. I was able to get through it.
Yeah.
And it was diagnosed early, and I had great care. But what I spent my time doing this spring while I was going through treatment was going to the Topeka State House and doing what I did last year, advocating for Medicaid expansion, because the state is missing out on almost $3 billion at this point of money from the federal government that we could be using to help provide care for people in Kansas.
Wow.
And it's overwhelmingly popular, just not with the people who are in charge in Topeka right now. And so I decided that maybe I needed to be one of those people in Topeka to make it happen.
I like that you were very proactive in your approach, because oftentimes you hear people complaining about people in positions of high authority, or, you know, if I was in that position, I would do this. And I feel like, you know, you just took it upon yourself to be like, well, I'm going to go and be in this position. So did you ever like question yourself, like, do I have all the right skills or criteria, where you just like, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens?
I think it's something that I've been preparing myself for several years without really knowing it. I've been doing a lot of work in the community, and actually across the state and even into DC, teaching people how to be better self-advocates. And you know, I go out to Western Kansas and do work. I've went and met with our senator in DC. I've done lots and lots of community organizing, and I think that the skills that I learned there helped me become more comfortable with the idea. You have to do, I think that leaders have to do, I think, a lot of internal work, because whatever baggage you're carrying, you're going to dump on the people around you.
Yeah.
And so I think that I've been, without realizing it, preparing myself for a long time.
Yeah,
And
that's very true. So your background, you're a 7th generation Kansan? Oh, wow, that's awesome. So did you grow up on a farm, or were your parents very political or activist in some sort?
Well, I grew up in north central Kansas, in a really rural part of the state, a little tiny town called Palmer. And my family, most of them were farmers. My parents didn't farm, but we did live on an old farm. And so I was around the farming community. Everybody, you know, my neighbors were my cows. That was just life. And so. But one of the interesting things about the way I grew up was my dad was a doctor and my mom was a nurse. We lived in, obviously, this really rural part of the state where there wasn't a lot of access to medical care. And so very often people would call us, or just sometimes show up on our doorstep and say, someone's having a baby, they're not going to make it to the hospital, somebody's had a stroke at the cafe, somebody smashed their finger on a piece of farm equipment, can you come? And my parents would always come and help, because it's the right thing to do for your neighbors. And that's just how I grew up. It's not about politics or parties. We just, we take care of each other.
I agree. So lastly, earlier in our previous conversation, we talked about the young voters on campus. And I looked at the issues between you and your opponent, Jim. So if I am a young voter and I'm kind of on the fence, and I'm like, do I want to vote for you, or do I want to vote for Jim? What would you say if you could talk to a young person and maybe, you know, give them something to help them decide to vote for you?
To anybody, really, regardless of age, do you want somebody that's just going to kind of toe the line, sometimes vote for things the right way, depending on public pressure, because that's, to be honest, kind of what he's done, or do you want somebody that's going to get out there and really fight for you? Whether or not I win tomorrow, I'm still going to be in Topeka in January fighting for the things that I think we need for the state. I don't think that's true of my opponent, because I never saw him before 2 years ago when he was elected, and I'm going to be there. So one way or another, we're going to get it done.
I like that. So where can people go to find more information about you?
You're welcome to go to my website. It's perryforkansas.com. And then check your polling location. All you have to do is go to Google, just say Kansas, find polling location, and there's a plug-in right now that'll help you figure out where to go vote.
All right. Okay, Thea Perry, everyone, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Chris doing the news.
Welcome back. I'm Nathaniel Duncan with your Monday Good Evening KU Sports Update. Saturday's 27-3 loss to Iowa State has now officially cost head coach David Beatty his job. Kansas Athletic Director Jeff Long announced that night that Beatty would not be returning next year. In his fourth season as the head coach of the Jayhawks, Beatty's record is 6-39 and just 2-31 in the Big 12 Conference. Long addressed the search for a successor last night.
Our search is already underway. I'm excited by the wide-ranging interest we've already received, and I anticipate receiving in the days and weeks ahead. After tonight, I will not comment further on the search until we introduce a new head football coach for our program. In the meantime, I continue to support these coaches, our student athletes, and our program as we head down the final 3 games of the season.
Both the men's and women's basketball teams finished up their exhibition games with perfect 2-0 records. The men defeated Emporia State and Washburn, while the women knocked off Fort Hays State and Washburn. The regular season begins tomorrow night when the men meet 10th-ranked Michigan State in the State Farm Champions Classic. The game will be on ESPN with a 6 p.m. tip-off from Indianapolis. The volleyball team has welcomed back setter Cameron Ennis with 2 straight victories. KU lost 3 straight matches while Ennis was out with an ankle injury, but is now beating West Virginia and Texas Tech in a return. The Jayhawks will next play Conference leading Texas and Austin on Saturday. The swimming and diving team defeated Nebraska 152-146 this weekend in Lincoln. KU earned 7 individual wins, including the final event of the meet, the 400-yard freestyle relay. The Jayhawks will host the 6th annual Kansas Classic November 16th through the 18th in Topeka. The rowing team wrapped up its fall season with 4 top 3 finishes at the Tulsa Fall Invitational this weekend. The KU Novice 8 won its 2nd race in a row, while the Varsity 8 finished 3rd overall. The men's golf team spent the week in Hawaii and finished in the top 10 at the Kaanapali Collegiate Classic. Jake Scott shot a 7-under par 135 to finish in 9th place tie. The soccer team learned of its fate at this afternoon's NCAA selection show. The Jayhawks will host St. Louis on Friday night at Rock Chalk Park. The kickoff time will be at 7 o'clock p.m. The winner of that match will play the winner of the Howard, North Carolina game. And that'll wrap it up for today's sports. Up next is Chris with the weather.
When you shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
Welcome back. I'm Chris. I'm doing the weather, if you may or may not have guessed already, and there's no better place to start than what the weather looks like today. Right now, it's not especially warm. 56, it's cloudy, there's a slight breeze, 7 miles an hour, blowing to the west. In the news, you may or may not have been able to tell that it was raining this morning, and depending on how early you got up, you may or may not have gotten wet. I, for one, got pretty soaked. Also, by the magic of the equinox, it's cold outside, so thanks to fall for that. And most importantly, to the eagle-eye viewers out there, well, you may have noticed that it's dark outside now and it's pretty light out in the morning, and that's due to the mythical revelation that we know as daylight savings time. And let's be honest, nobody knows how that works. I know, I don't. Most importantly, we have the 5-day forecast, so we can look at the temperature for today. It was 56, cloudy, kind of crappy. Tomorrow, expect more rain. Also with Thursday, more rain. And like I said before, it's cold. So that'll about wrap things up. Thanks for watching, and to all my friends in calculus, including myself, good luck. Take it easy, everybody.